What's the situation at the moment?
Well, you could still, I know that it's not actually clear from the picture we're bringing you, but there's a police helicopter overhead and there's a number of people behind me. And there's someone coming to try and talk to us during our live, but we'll continue talking. But there are hundreds of people gathered here at the other side of the Holiday Inn Hotel, and they have set fire to an object which is in the middle of the midst of the people there. There are around 300 people, and earlier on today, we saw police officers with riot shields running towards that group, trying to head them off as they threw stones and planks of wood at those police officers. We know that the Asylum Hotel was targeted earlier in the day, and what has seemed to have happened is other groups of people have now joined the fray, because as the police look like they're about to stand down and sort of take breath, there then appeared a group of young people who mainly had masks on their faces, who came running down the road towards them. And it's very clear at this side of the Holiday Inn, not just the hotel, but the police now are targets, because we've seen police officers in cars come in this direction have to reverse very quickly when they've been noticed by the groups of people who have headed in their direction. In fact, one of those police cars had their window smashed out on the street behind me, headed towards the Holiday Inn, which we're not going to head towards just to stay away from all of what is going on. But on that street behind me, there is debris, there is glass, there are beer cans, there is something in the middle of there on fire, just maybe a few hundred meters from the Holiday Inn, which we know has been targeted by those protesters, now described by Keir Starmer as far-right thugs. But what you also have are people who are clearly joining the fray, joining those groups of people in targeting officers, targeting this hotel, which we know housed asylum seekers, throwing projectiles at the police. And there's a very real sense here that rather than the scene sort of clearing up and the situation de-escalating, there are people still joining. There's scorched grass, there are officers with their riot shields up behind me. So just to kind of give you a bit of a better sense on the lay of the land, and I know we can't get in that close because we're on an iPhone, which is the best thing to film on in this situation, but there are police officers in that crowd on the other side, and then a group of onlookers. And every time the police head in this direction in vehicles, they are being chased away from the scene. I saw a police car about 5 minutes ago reversing the opposite direction. So as I have said, it's clear that they are being targeted. Over the course of today, we've seen those pictures of people trying to gain entry into that Holiday Inn Express, which you know housed asylum seekers, people setting fire to that. There is a flame behind me as well, Julian. And there is a police helicopter overhead also, in a scene that doesn't look like it's de-escalating anytime soon. In fact, some people in the last hour have joined the rioting.
Shingi, if you feel safe to carry on, just a couple more questions. You just said there that people are seemingly joining the rioters, so that the crowds are swelling. There's no sign that people are starting to leave as the day is drawing to a close.
So on this side, at least, in the last 30 minutes, people joined, but this is quite a complex situation with the police cordoning off a number of entrances to the hotel. So this was one of them. And here, when we arrived, which is just over an hour ago now, the police were saying that it's the other side where they were having issues. And then suddenly, as I think is the case with so many of these situations, there was a development and they had to move. So officers who had stopped had to pick up their riot gear and head in the direction of a group who were approaching them. That group had projectiles, that group had planks of wood, they had stones. And that gave you the sense that this is a fast-moving situation in which at points, perhaps, there is what seems to be de-escalation, but then the crowd swelled a little bit. So at this point, I'd say there's around 100 or so people gathered, but the mood has shifted quickly in the evening while we've been here. I don't know if we can sort of walk back a little and get in a little bit closer for you, but as you can see, there's a group behind me, and that group, I don't think you probably get it on the small phone camera we're having to use, are surrounding a group of police officers, much like the pictures we've seen over the course of the day at the other side of the Holiday Inn. You have police officers who seem outnumbered, and crowds of people around them. It seems to have quietened down in the last 10 or 15 minutes. But the incitement seems to happen when there's a police car heading in this direction and the group of people see them.